More and more designer brands are coming out with Middle Eastern exclusive fragrances like this one. This one, this one, this one, or this one. And I am all for exclusive fragrances, limited edition fragrances, because the more stuff coming out, the higher chance that something's gonna be amazing. But there is one dark side to Middle Eastern exclusives. They're impossible to find sometimes, and that sucks. Look me in the eyes. I want the fragrances. Stop making them exclusive, unless you're gonna make them exclusive to me. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. So yeah, a lot of Middle Eastern scents out there. Fantastic. The One Luminous Night, amazing. Good luck finding it. But that's not what we're talking about today. No sir, we're talking about something that's a little similar to this right here, Eros Najim by Versace. This is the first Middle Eastern exclusive in the Eros line. And if history has taught me anything, it means there's gonna be like 12 more. But there is an issue with Eros Najim, and it's what I talked about just now. It is impossible to find this stuff. I figured that eventually it would start popping up at discounters with regularity and be pretty easy to scoop up. That has not happened. In fact, we've actually gotten fake bottles of Eros Najim on eBay before it's become readily available at discounters, so great. This is fair warning. If you go onto eBay and you see Eros Najim for $270 and you go, well, that's too expensive. This dude has it for $50. That guy selling it to you for $50 from Hong Kong? That ain't real, brother. So yeah, this is impossible to find, and I've been saying this for a minute. There need to be clones, alternatives of this type of fragrance. And now, there is. This is Lattafa Qaed Al Fursan Untamed, and actually it's got a really similar bottle shape. So yes, this is supposed to be an alternative, a clone of Eros Najim, but how good is it really? That's what we're gonna be diving into today, the differences between these two, where they differ in terms of smell, performance, and everything else, and whether or not this can be a good alternative to this, and whether or not you even need to pony up the money for this. So this one has popped up pretty much everywhere, really quickly too. Basically it was announced and then the next day it was available. So I bought mine from the perfume box. I will have this linked in the description to their website. $24 is how much it costs. That is though before the discount code, which you see here. So technically you can get it for even less than 24. Do I use my own discount codes? Yes, I do. And there are a bunch of other codes that you can use as well across a multitude of different websites if you shop at any of those. But for now, let's go ahead and check out the presentation really quickly, and we can start breaking down Eros Najim versus the newest Lattafa. At least as of this video, the newest one. I'm sure by the time this goes live, they'll have 15 more ones out and this won't be new anymore. Something, lots of releases, something Middle Eastern brands. So here we've got the front of the box. You have the name of the house, the name of the fragrance, size, and concentration. Interestingly enough, it comes in a 90 ml size, not 100. The concentration is eau de parfum. You have a little horse running on the box there as well. The design carries over to the side, and then on the back, you have your ingredient information and your caution, as well as a sticker of authenticity with the QR code. You've got Lattafa on top of the box, on the bottom your badge code and your barcode, and the box itself has like a very slight rubberized feel to it. It's actually pretty nice overall. Kind of standard, but pretty nice. And here we have the bottle. So the original Qaed Al Fursan, very popular, really pineapple forward, that one. It's got some similarities to some other stuff out there, 9 AM Rebel, and also Rave Now, that very pineapple forward wheelhouse. You can also use that one, the original version of this fragrance, as like a layering scent as well. So like you could really pair that up with other things and give it a big boost of the pineapple, of that fruity sweetness off the top. Works really well for that. So here we have the bottle, a somewhat similar color scheme to the Eros Najim bottle, more so just in the color of the like orange highlights in the front there. You have the name of the fragrance on the front as well, this little plaque that's glued onto the front of the glass bottle. Bottle itself, pretty plain, just like this deep brown / amber coloration. You have a sticker on the bottom. You have Lattafa on top of the cap, and the cap is magnetized. Looks kind of like a little Sauvage cap, doesn't it? A little brown Sauvage cap. That's basically how it looks. And the magnet's okay. It's not super great. Yeah, you see? Comes off pretty easy, so I wouldn't try to pick this up by the cap, although sometimes it tries to act like it's stronger than it is. I don't know. Believe me though, it's not that strong. Don't pick it up by the cap. Let's go ahead and do a couple sprays here 1, 2, atomizer is all right. And a couple sprays of our good friend Eros Najim. Let's get into the smell, how these differ and how they're similar. So Eros Najim is a scent that for me, the opening is not quite there. It's not bad. It doesn't smell terrible or anything like that. It's just with an Eros fragrance, you really expect that opening to like grab attention immediately. And for me, Eros Najim has always been a scent that when I first spray it on, I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's not bad at all. It just doesn't have as much of a wow factor. That actually comes in later on. Eros Najim to me, as it dries down, becomes way better than the opening. The opening's got green mandarin, smells like nutmeg in there as well, like a little bit aromatic. It has sweetness, just not quite as much as you might expect when you first spray it on. And the new Untamed is quite similar to Eros Najim off the top. So they do have a lot of similarities there. I would say the biggest difference when you first spray these on though, is that Untamed comes across a little bit sweeter initially. So it's got like that kind of sticky sweetness ramped up a bit. And then that almost lightly herbal, spicy, aromatic edge that Eros Najim has is dialed down a bit off the top. And so for me, Untamed actually smells better when you first spray it on. And that's because it does lean slightly more into the sweet side of things as compared to the Versace. Now, for some people, that's not gonna be as good, but I would think for more people, that'll actually be a welcome change because it does help that opening grab attention a little bit more. And let's be honest, most people that are looking for an Eros fragrance are probably looking for something that's gonna get attention. And that difference also carries over into the mid as well. So Untamed settles in much quicker off my skin into that kind of warm caramel aspect that Eros Najim has. Eros Najim lingers a lot longer on that opening. So that kind of spicy aromatic mix with a little bit of green mandarin, it stays longer there, a lot longer. This one, a couple minutes in, it's already like going straight into caramel town. The ambery aspects of the fragrance come out sooner in Untamed. You still have a lot of other things going on there. So you've got some spicy notes in there, you've got some floral notes in there, lavender, geranium, clary sage, like all of those you can pick up as it heads through the mid, but they're more like supporting notes to that caramel, labdanum, amber, cinnamon kind of mix. And Eros Najim has a woodiness that comes out much, much sooner as well. So you get this technically oud note that's in there that lays underneath everything else, and it's got that kind of spiciness that works in with the oud note. Really, it's just a spicy woodiness. But that comes through more clearly in Eros Najim. So you do have that kind of clone style here, or alternative style, where you're taking the original and you're like adjusting the dials on everything. So it's almost like you're at a board and you have all the notes and you go like, okay, we're gonna take the caramel and move that up, okay? We're gonna take the woods, move that down a little bit, And you're just kind of rearranging things a little bit, changing the percentages on things, and it comes across very similar, but at the same time different. Now, as they head into the dry down, they do get a lot more similar. So once you hit that far dry down, that's where things kind of come back into the fold. You know, everything gets right back closer to the middle, where they start being really difficult to tell apart in the air. I mean, right up close, you could be like, okay, this one is this one, this one is this one, but in the air, it's like 6 half dozen once you hit that far dry down. It's just the journey to get there is different. You've also got this nice little touch of like smoky incense that wafts through the fragrance, not overwhelming, not like a, you know, big churchy incense blast, more so just this more typical designer style incense. You know, just that little extra oomph to give a little more depth, a little more complexity to the fragrance once you hit that dry down. And as I mentioned before, I think the opening of Untamed is actually a little bit easier to get into than the opening of Eros Najim. Not that Eros Najim has a crazy, terrible opening or anything like that. It's just, it has always felt to me a little bit bland in a way. Like I just want a little something extra there to grab my attention right away. Instead, it's like, decent, but then as it dries, gets a lot better. This one, the opening is slightly better than Eros Najim because of that sweetness, so I appreciate that here a little bit more. Through the mid, it's really dependent on taste. If you prefer it to lean a little bit more towards that caramel side of things with more cinnamon and you know, some sweeter spices coming through, this one may work better. If you're looking for probably the classier of the two, the one that's a little bit more mature, that's gonna be Eros Najim. And I had an interesting thought while wearing these and comparing these. Eros Najim, to an extent, at certain times through the mid when you smell it, could almost remind you of like a barbershop fragrance if it were done in a more ambery, spicy way. So it has that kind of gentlemanly feel to it, you know, that kind of sophisticated edge to it. The way that it hits at times does have a barbershop-y vibe to it, even if it is kind of in the background melding together with these other notes. But it can give you that kind of aesthetic. So it could be like the type of scent that you wear to partially scratch that itch and be able to pull it off in like fall and winter time. Because there were a couple times as I was wearing this where I was like, oh yeah, like through the mid into the Drydown, whew, Eros Najim smelling good. Gentlemanly, but sexy, not overbearing, not overwhelming, just getting the job done, you know, smelling high end without necessarily putting it right in your face. That is something that we'll talk about in just a second that some people don't like about Najim, you know, the way that the projection is, but we'll get to that. And Untamed, obviously being an alternative to Eros Najim, has part of that kind of aspect, that light barbershop-y aspect to it, but it definitely comes across more clearly in Eros Najim. And then once you hit the Drydown, the far Drydown, you're really splitting hairs. You still have a little bit more of that, I'd say like almost green, very lightly herbal kind of smell. In Eros Najim, it's in the background, but you can pick up just a tiny bit more of that in the Drydown here as compared to here. And that's really probably down to that approach in the mid, right? Where this one takes more of that ambery, sweet, spicy, warm kind of scent profile and runs with it, while this one, Eros Najim, has more of a woodiness and everything else. So that just kind of carries over into the Drydown and makes them lightly different there, but not a big difference, not enough to get worked up over. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about that performance. I alluded to it just a second ago. Eros Najim. The longevity is fine. The longevity off my skin is not bad. The projection is more moderate. And you can kind of feel that right off the top. When you spray this one on, as I mentioned a few times about the opening, it does not necessarily scream off your skin. And if the opening isn't screaming, then the Drydown probably isn't gonna be either, right? But it does last a good amount of time. And there have been a few times while I've been wearing this where I'll be moving around and I feel like it's not really there, and then it's just woof, you catch a big waft of it. And you're like, oh, okay, it's still there. Same thing goes for Untamed. It's a little bit louder off the top, ever so slightly. It's still not like a monster for me, but it does have a little better push to it, and the longevity is solid as well. So if I were gonna compare these in terms of performance, longevity, pretty similar, but projection, Untamed, a little bit better. And I'm telling you, you spray a decent amount of sprays of either one of these, go about your day, and I'm not talking about drowning in it, but like a decent amount, you know, hit yourself 8 sprays or something. You'll catch whiffs for a long time. Now in terms of seasonality, same deal as Eros Najim, fall, winter, daytime or evening. Spring, you could wear it during the day or the evening. In early spring, as it starts to heat up a lot, obviously it's not really the season that you would think of wearing this, either one of these. But as I always say, and will continue to say, you know best what works for you. So give this some sprays, see how it works off your skin, and if you're going somewhere where you can pull this off comfortably, go ahead. You don't necessarily have to follow very rigidly like what season to wear stuff. It's just a general guideline. So we've touched on performance, when you would wear it, how it smells, some of the differences, looked at the presentation. Is it worth owning over Najim? Unless you're a huge collector, a big fan of the Eros line, something like that, I would say absolutely. At this point, Eros Najim just, what is the point now, you know? Assuming anyway that you're in North America, because it's really difficult to find. There are fakes that are starting to go all over the place. I know, this is very cutting edge every time I bring the phone up to the screen. Eros Najim, 42, that is fake. 129 from Japan, iffy. 69.99 from China, fake. 69.99, Hong Kong, fake. You want a real one from UAE, $220 plus $20 shipping. Or this one for $290 and then $20 shipping because it's a larger size bottle. Oh, and then we're back to Hong Kong fakes again, and more Hong Kong fakes, and then a $200 one. So essentially, if you want Eros Najim, you have to pay niche prices if you want to get an actual bottle that's not a fake ripoff, and it just isn't worth that. It's not worth that much money. If you could find Eros Najim at a discounter with regularity for like 70 bucks, something like that. Kind of more in line with the other Eros fragrances. Yeah, it's worth picking up. I love the little classy edge that it has. I think the mid and the Drydown smell fantastic. The opening is for me. But at that price point, I could swing it. 70 bucks, 80 bucks, fine. 200, 300, God no. And now this guy comes out, 24 bones, 10% off, it's like 22. Yeah, I mean, it just, there's no point now. Unless you can find Eros Najim for a more realistic price. Like I said, at that point, scoop it up. But otherwise, the only people that should be looking for this at those insane prices that they're going for right now is collectors. That is my number one frustration with exclusives, is they can be really, really, really good, like the one Luminous Night, impossible to find. And then because there is demand, you get lots of people trying to scam other people. And then you'll have people who don't know any better and it's not their fault, but they'll buy a fake, and they'll get it in and they'll be like, this stuff sucks. This is terrible. I don't know what anybody's talking about, that this being good, it's terrible. And it's because they bought a fake. So it's like, it causes so many issues. Oh, and in terms of compliments, in case anybody cares about that, I think that this one, Untamed, is, especially with that extra sweetness, gonna be the more attention grabbing of the two. Like I said, especially the opening through the mid, but the classier of the two, Eros Najim. So it's really kind of depending on which one floats your boat. But for the price, really, really on the low end of stuff, less than 10% really of what you're gonna have to pay to pick this up. Absolutely fantastic. So there we go, that is the new Untamed. Like I said, I'll have it linked in the description below. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.